Dr. Junkela, Sierra Leone also faces major energy access challenges, particularly in rural areas, a similar issue to what we've just heard about from Principal Secretary Wachira. What are you doing to unleash capital in Sierra Leone to help address those?
Well, first of all, we've launched our Just Energy Transition Plan in November last year. And we collaborated with a number of international agencies, International Renewable Energy Agency, Sustainable Energy for All, World Bank, and others to develop that plan. It's a 10-year plan. We want to add 1 gigawatt of power over the next 10 years. Our mining sector alone, that is expanding rapidly, needs at least another 500 megawatts in the next 6 years. So there is demand, but we have a plan about how do we achieve that demand, including both bulk power production and also decentralized energy. So first, having a plan, so everybody knows where we want to go. We're in conversations now on the tariff formula. We also want to establish a clear tariff that will allow this cost-reflective tariff, but also help government make a decision if we're going to do decentralized energy solutions, what levels of subsidies will be necessary. So a plan, a clear tariff formula. In addition, we have a very good IPP policy. We've been able to attract a number of independent power producers. We have several of them now doing solar projects, selling to the government, Planet Solar, Serengeti, a number of them are established. We have all our mini-grid operators are all private. But we've also attracted bulk power production. The latest deal we closed last year was $420 million for a gas-powered plant for about 104 megawatts, supported by the DFC in the United States. So our IPP policy is very transparent, very clear, and companies are responding to that. Looking at the Just Energy Transition Plan, as I said, we want to add 1 gigawatt over 10 years. So what are we trying to do in the next 3? First of all, in the next 12 months, we want to add 80 megawatts of solar. Yeah, the World Bank is doing 40 megawatts, and IFC through Scatec, the Norwegian group, is doing another 40 megawatts. We want to add that immediately. In the medium term, 2 to 3 years, we have other companies that are taking a look at our hydropower potential and our solar. Infinity Power is looking at possibly 80 megawatts on the banks of one of our rivers. We also have 65 megawatts being looked at now by Africa 50 and a private developer. So we have short-term, immediate 12 months, another 3-year set of projects we want to bring alive. The good news is our country was blessed with a lot of water. I say to my Norwegian friends, God gave them wind, God gave us water and sun. We want to develop our hydro potential. For us, that's the best alternative we have. You can get that at 5 cents a kilowatt hour. And for our country, we're not as rich as our Kenyan neighbors, but we need to have tariffs that will allow more social inclusion. Yeah, so we want to lower those tariffs. Our tariffs are like 21, 22 cents. It's very, very high. Like 21, 22 cents. It's very, very high. So this is why now we're doing 2 things. One, we have a major decentralized energy platform. We want to do 500 more mini-grids over the next 3 years, 3 to 6 years. And for that, we're very pleased that the European Union is launching a program very soon in 2 months to do about 60 of those. We've also qualified for the World Bank DARIS initiative, Decentralized Access to Renewable Energy Solutions, where we'll add probably another 150 mini-grids in the rural areas. But the tariff is a problem. Mm-hmm. Our mini-grid tariffs now are like 60 US cents. So the poor pay more than the rich people in the cities. How do we deal with that? And so with this new EU program together with GIZ, we're going to do a lot of capacity building. We're going to launch a results-based financing tendering process now to bring in more private sector mini-grid operators. We're hoping that that competition will lower the tariffs for the rural people. So a number of initiatives going forward. We've revised our our mini-grid regulations. Those are going to Parliament now, incentivizing more duty-free for all solar technologies coming in. That's an incentive we're introducing. I tried this year to waive the GST tax, but that did not pass. But next year, we're going back to fight for that. So we're trying to incentivize as much as possible private sector operators to come in, especially for the decentralized energy solutions. But our hydro potential, we've done all the feasibility studies for about 4 major dam locations. These are all runoff rivers, very limited environmental impact. But biggest obstacle, guarantees. So that's why we're interested in the new German Green Guarantee Scheme. A number of private sector are interested. The Kenyans hosted an investment forum for several of our countries just last year. But a number of the private sector guys who came there said, we like your feasibility studies, we want to come in, the policy is there, but we need guarantees. First of all, indeed, our president joined President Ruto to launch APRA. I was part of the design team. We've already started benefiting from APRA. We had a rapid assessment of our renewable energy policies in Sierra Leone by IRENA quickly. We were not a beneficiary of Danish aid, but because of APRA, the Danes also moved fast to help our utility look at loss reduction. They deployed experts very quickly. Some training came in, all within 6 months. And in addition, they're providing some funding through the EU now because they don't have a presence in our country, but they're passing the money through EU for more mini-grids. So APRA, in our case, within a year, kicked off very fast. We're looking now at the next phase. Because we have these good feasibility studies done by some of the most reputable international firms you can find for our hydro and solar potential, we're hoping through the APRA mechanism, we can in fact deal with some of the issues they've raised there on financing. For me, I want to agree with my sister from South Africa. Grant financing and concessional financing is going to be crucial for those pre-investment stages. It is very expensive to do some of these feasibility studies, environmental impact assessments, and so on. You're going to need grant money to get that pipeline running. And we need many more projects to come into the pipeline. Also to make them bankable. We have had projects where best technical work was done, but investors tell you they're not bankable, they're not in the right shape. So how do you right-size them? How do you make that ticket size attractive with all the relevant information that is needed? Concessional financing is going to be crucial. The cost of financing, as she said, is still very high. I like the point they made about developing the local ecosystem. Our own local banks are not investing in energy. Yeah, we're borrowing money to help the government tide over our tight budget situation. But real financing from our local banks, they're not there yet. And I think that's a missed opportunity we have. So I think some funding and support needs to be directed to encourage them. And by the way, when I used to come here to Germany in my UN days, Germany and others did the same for Eastern Europe. The old issue about energy efficiency was not a big market in Eastern Europe. I know exactly the stories from EIB and from EBRD, what they had to do, because I chaired some of those meetings here in Europe in those days in Brussels with Commissioner Piebalgs. Yeah? You had to help those Eastern European banks understand how they structure those deals, and then the market boomed. Yeah. We need a similar intervention. Maybe not in South Africa. You guys are very advanced now. But for the rest of sub-Saharan Africa, we need to develop that local ecosystem so our own financial institutions, even our pension funds, can get involved in financing, for example, as simple as DRE solutions. Maybe the bulk power as well.
May I just ask you in follow-up to that, the bankability issue, is it also a capacity building issue? Is there a need for more training also for local financial institutions to be able to generate those bankable project offers?
Yes, the bankability has a capacity building component of the technical skills needed to really take the project ideas to that level. It also has to be with understanding and training within the financial systems in our countries to understand how to structure those deals. Yeah, and I believe also it has to do with risk perception sometimes. You know, our countries are looked at too risky. I mean, one of the most innovative financing we've received last year was this gas-powered project. Yeah, DFC had to combine their money with the ECOWAS bank that provided the risk cover for that project to go through. Without that structuring, it would not have happened.
Right.
DFC required that comfort. We cannot give sovereign guarantee, so another financial institution had to step in. How do we get more of that kind of collaboration amongst DFIs? That's why I believe Mission 300 is going to be key, because it's a combination of DFIs, some bilateral or multilateral support coming in to deal with all of those issues you raised there. Mm-hmm. They're all important, and I like the way they were, at least the last three were ranked almost the same. They're all important.
Yeah.
It's all of the above.
Yeah, exactly. You had a